That's easy.
Hi, Doreen. So wonderful to see you.
Hi, Patty. I always love dancing in the moment with you. So we are going to see what happens today.
That's the best part of it when we can be playful and just start out with just curiosity. And I am very curious about this master class that you've put together and what's happening right now for you.
Oh, it's one I've done in the past, although when COVID came, it kind of went away. So I'm back to doing it, and it's called Find Your Voice, and it's a group coaching program where I help people tap into the truth. It isn't about performance techniques, it's more about where is the you that has a voice inside, and are you holding yourself back? And let's go find it. So, this curiosity, I know you just used that word. People are puzzles to me, and I love finding the truth inside and letting that uh, fly free. I see you've got a little uh, a bird. Is that a hummingbird on your? Yeah. So I'm thinking, oh yeah, fly free. So it's called Find Your Voice, and it's a 12-week program, and the result is tapping into a deeper inner strength to express yourself, no matter what, no matter where, whoever happens to be. We like to say, life is your stage every moment.
Oh, and I love that. So, how did you get to this place in your life? What brought you to this place of understanding and helping other women and other people find their voice?
As a psychologist, for what, 40 years now, I think I've always been fascinated by human, not just behavior, but what goes on inside. We talk about space being vast, and I think inside of us, there's so much vastness. And so I've always been, there's the word again, curious and fascinated by who we are, how we got to be that way, and what are the more possible ways we can live a life that feels more aligned, especially if we have had wounded voices in the past. So I think that's my specialty, and my superpower is being able to listen and make it safe for people to tap into those wounds and heal them.
So, was it about your journey that gave you this real compassion for people to help them find their voice? What has been your journey in finding and amplifying yours?
Well, I just got a little teary when you asked me that first part, because I just realized I have a sister. So I think that's early on, because that's where a lot of patterns get set, is early on. My sister and my mother was severely depressed, in and out of the hospital, and my grandma would take care of us, and she would also say to us, my grandma would say, you better be quiet or your mom's going to get sick and go back into the hospital. So I think that two things. One, my sense of I better be quiet, so that I think that is partly why I'm a quieter type person, and perhaps held my own voice back. And I would say that's probably where my wound was. But the second thing around what you asked about passion, is the noticing and caring for my little sister, you know? So, yeah. And so I feel like I bring that to the work that I do with people. And that's why my approach is so different. It's not about go out there and feel the fear and do it anyway and push you out there and just be yourself. It really is, let's go in and find where the pain is. And I could help you, and I could listen, and I could heal. I could help you heal from deep, deep, deep inside.
And that is where, right? That is where our pain lodges, right? Deep
Yeah.
inside in a place that most of us have, ignored or tried to rise above or force through it instead of um, being
Yeah.
able to be self-compassionate and kind and bring the best of us out. And that's what it sounds like you're doing.
Absolutely. In fact, where I met you was on the mindfulness summit where I did talk, even just what you just said around being kind and gentle. And so I call it softening, softening into presence, because actually underneath the pain and the fear and the wound is presence, the power of presence.
Oh, that's beautiful. I have no doubt that that's the energy that you bring to your clients because I've witnessed it, in just the little while that we've known each other. It's been a real blessing to connect with you and that energetic spark that is, that is what many of us want, right? It's that energy that lights up a room that allows other people to shine. And I see that in you. I see that in your ability to connect, to honor, the person on the other side of the camera. In this case, it's me, right? But it's also with the audience that we are speaking to, that you have this incredible presence that allows for others to be seen.
Nice. Thank you. Yeah. The image you just did about me being in front of people speaking, I wanted to add, and this is, I think it makes sense to and connects to what you just said, is I listen. I, as a speaker, most people think they have to, remember something, be on stage, be speaking. And what about, and this is the whole kind of turning it around that I do. What if you're the biggest listener in the room, even though you're supposed to be the one who's delivering a message or speaking? That's the I think that's where energy shifts,
Mhm.
right? Because the people in the room begin to feel like, yeah, she's speaking, but she's also listening to me. And it also wakes up the listening in the audience, actually.
I love that. That's beautiful. We all need that safe space, right? We all seem to need a place where we can show up and be ourselves. And that's what I'm also hearing from you, that you are interested in not just the best of us, but those things that keep us separated from the best of us. And that's a journey, that's a curiosity that we can dive into. And how exciting that you have the skills to handle both.
Yeah, that reminds me of, I told you briefly about my experience as a little girl and my mother being in and out of the hospital, so that when she returned, Patty, when she returned, there was darkness in the house, but it
Mm,
was my grandma's house. And outside there were flowers and gardens, rose bushes that were blooming these fragrant red roses and gladiolas and uh, everything you can think of, name a flower. And I think it was in my grandma's garden. And so there was beauty and growth, just like, so here's a threshold, the front door. Outside is awesome, and inside is pain.
mm,
And so I feel like that's also what you just mentioned about my ability to do both at the same time, see possibility, but also understand and know pain.
mm. And we all have the seasons, right? That season where we may not like it, right? It's a painful season, but we also know that all seasons are temporary, that all things are temporary. So it gives me that hope that no matter what I'm going through, tomorrow is a new day and next hour is a new hour, and there are opportunities to start again.
Yes. And even the next moment, right?
Yes, every moment, right? Every moment. And I think that to me is beautiful.
Uh-huh. I do too.
When you're working with individuals or in groups or in your class, what are some of the tips that you would share, if you don't mind sharing a few of the insights that you share for our listeners?
Well, I guess I would go first to fear, because that's what people are so they're avoiding fear. And the more that they avoid it, the more the brain, and neuroplasticity, the more the brain goes, yay, I've just avoided that. difficult situation, and that feels good. So you're reinforcing the avoidance pattern. And so I would first help people come to understand that fear, we could say it in so many ways, but it's called a mindset shift, right? But that fear has a message. Fear is what's in the way is the way. That's another quote I use. And I think that probably just captures it. What's in the way is the way. So that we just have to learn how to quiet ourselves, soften ourselves, ground ourselves, and be able to be with fear. And in that, by helping people first do that, that's the first step. I mean, it's like a car that's got a noise and you can't drive it because it needs to be fixed. I mean, your body, your voice, your life isn't happening if you're all blocked, right? So then the second thing for me would be much more about what you and I share about mindfulness, is being able to know and discover and learn how. I have a roadmap that guides people to this inner jewel that I like to say also, where there is fear, there's a jewel, but this essence that when we were first meeting today, the shine and the brightness and the beauty that's within, the magnificence. So, yeah, saying that to people when they feel like, no, I don't want to go towards fear and I don't have any magnificence. But it's true if we can, I guess I just have to find people that just say, yes, she did it. She showed me how, because that's one way to prove it to people, because just saying it isn't enough. So that's why I'm here with you today too, is to say, we are in the land of possibility. And yeah, yeah. I remember somebody coming to me. She was a writer. She wrote about the Manson trials, and she had to go out and speak about it. And she was scared. And, but she started by saying, I can't believe it. I can't believe I'd ever be able to do it. So do you see that that's the first thing I had to work with? Is that belief that's just so can't even imagine them themselves out there in the world. So I guess three things to answer your question. One, belief that you can change your mindset around fear being valuable message. And three, that there's an essence, a magnificent essence, a treasure within, which is your core strength.
I love that. You know, you and I connect on that very much, going inside to find that. And fear serves a purpose. For many of us, fear has served us to keep us small or keep us quiet or keep us out of trouble. And when we get to this place in our lives, I don't know, maybe it's 50, maybe it's before that, depends on the person. But for me, got to a place where I realized I don't want to be small anymore. I choose not to be in fear because it doesn't serve me. And I serve to stand up and show my children, my four children, and now my grandbaby, how to live a life on purpose and with joy.
Uh-huh. Yeah, the joy is a good uh, going forward. And I'll just turn it around for a second here with you. Tell me a little bit about joy.
So joy for me is a state of being that
Uh-huh.
everything's okay. There's no heaviness, there's no judgment. Certainly I don't stay in that place all the time, although it seems to be getting more and more that I can, because life is just so interesting. When I started studying neuroscience and started studying how powerful our minds are and how we can change the chemistry in our bodies, that became this really, going back to curiosity, this place of curiosity that life becomes fun. Because when I release the fear that we've talked about, when I've released the judgment, when I release those preconceived beliefs that don't come just from my mom or my dad. It comes from society, right? These beliefs that we are not enough, that we need to do more, this focus on the material physical realm instead of being able to transcend to a place where we see the value in all those things, and yet we choose to live in a place of abundance and joy.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I would say that finding your voice is exactly how you described joy. I had a feeling that you would be able to say it for folks about what is possible when they learn how to transform. And I don't want to say fight fear, overcome it, get rid of it. It's transform energy. It's energy that's all kind of crunched, like Michelangelo and the stone, that inside is the angel.
And we can love that fear. That fear has served us.
Oh,
And know it.
yes.
We can. We
Yes.
can because it's protected us. And I
Right.
think you and I talked about it the other day when we spoke that you know, for me, just the idea that you and I are having this conversation, and I didn't even know you a few months back, even a month back, and yet our lives have intertwined in this interesting thread. And
Yeah.
we've found these synchronicities and these ways that both of our works align. And that is a gift. And without being in this sort of level of engagement with life and this level of engagement with joy and mindfulness, your path and my path wouldn't have crossed. And what a gift that everything in my life has seemingly brought me to this place where I get to speak to you. I get to, write about my experiences and see life as a joy-filled opportunity.
Yes. Yeah. I like where you just extended it. It's not just about us or people having voices and being able to speak up without fear holding them back. It's like one of the opportunities is engagement with other people, other humans. Yay, I get to meet Patty. A new friend. Thank you.
Yeah, it is. It's wonderful and it's beautiful because that's the choice we get to make. And if I lived in fear of what you might think of me, or am I going to be able to hold a conversation that doesn't have to exist because
Ah,
the little I know about you, I see is just so welcoming and non-judgmental and open to the realm of possibility. And to me, those are the kind of people, you are the kind of people that
yeah.
I want to surround myself with in this next chapter of my life.
Oh, good. I'll jump in. I didn't, well, I'm 76, going on 77. So it is another chapter of my life too, but it's wonderful to include uh, the new, right? The new. And this is what it feels like. What we're honoring today is, or at least I am right now, getting it.
Yeah. And I love that you are helping others find their best. And what I've come to believe is that our purpose really is to get to know ourselves on such a deep level and get to love ourselves so unconditionally that we can show up and be our best every day. And when we show up our best, we lift others up. We can't help it because that's, I believe, who we are at our core. That is the love that is the thread that flows through.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. The showing up with fullness of self is what you're saying. And voice, voice isn't just out there disconnected, right? It's connected to something inside of us. And to me, what you just described around the best of who you can be in that moment, right, is beautiful the way you described that. Yes.
I love it. Well, my hope is for both of us and for those who are in our lives, and hopefully that will grow, right? The communities that we're creating, my hope is that it grows because I believe the world needs more of these kind of conversations, of these uplifting, how can we be a better light and voice to the world? And when we come together and share that connection, my hope is that other women, other people, other beings will feel more free to express themselves in love.
Yes, inspiration, but it's also modeling.
Mhm.
I mean, you know, I told you tad about my story, and I know you have a story, and we are no longer encased in that marble like Michelangelo talked about. We've freed ourselves, and it is possible. We know the journey and we know what it takes. So uh, I think we are. You're right. I think we're guiding lights
Ah.
for others.
Well, and even guiding lights get dim on occasion. And so, which is why I believe it's even more important
Uh,
that we surround ourselves because when
uh-huh.
my light dims, as can happen in a world full of things that are difficult, can be difficult, being around other people who can continue to flame that light and to show up for that light and to continue to shine the light in the most positive way, that is a real gift. So thank you for all you do. Thank you for being a light to others. And thank you for connecting. And I have no doubt we'll have more conversations as we build this beautiful world back into health and well-being. And I believe it starts with each of us. And I just want to thank you for the work you've done to be able to show up with this much beauty.
Oh, thank you for the invitation, for the conversation, for the dance.
Thank you.